Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm live now. Yeah. Let's- I mean, we'll see if anybody joins. I didn't announce it, so it's gonna be like a last minute thing that people will probably just start joining, but there's literally nobody in the chat yet. But hold on, just give me
We got 8 people on right now, so.
yeah. But those are like people from on your end.
Could you see the comment I pinned up on the screen?
No.
Oh, you can't? It says great job.
I'm currently viewing. I'm not looking.
Oh, okay.
Hold
Yeah.
on. I'm not looking at this your stream right now because I have two laptops here, so I'm kind of looking on both. Did you Hey guys, wait, what was it? Oh, the StreamYard link?
Yeah, it's in the chat. I put it here.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like it shows everybody's chat, or is that not what you're talking about?
No, I can put up someone's chat on the screen.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Someone else join.
Okay. I think it's gonna start. Yeah, people are gonna start coming in. I currently have like 3 viewers. So welcome everybody. This is like a really last minute stream. I didn't really mean to do this like so late. But this is currently going to be like a little like bit of a last minute kind of thing here. So I was just talking with let's talk politics here, guys. Yes, let's talk politics. I was just talking with him here, and we're going to be going over the 2024 Electoral College map for the most part. Oh my god, I showed my thing again. Um, but anyways, I'm here. It's only going to be for a couple of minutes, guys. I mean, just if you guys have any questions about my electoral map that I have right now, this is the new color scheme that I have for all of my videos. So if you guys are going to be watching my content from now on, I will in fact be using this color scheme for the electoral map, and I will more than likely also be using it for the Senate and House. Well, not the House, because the House I'm going to do it through 270 to win, pretty much. But this is what the color scheme I'm going to be using. Um, I actually wanted. Did I show you my Senate election thing or no? Because I may actually upload. I may just record after this. I might just record my Senate prediction and just upload it because
I was gonna make one pretty soon too.
Yeah, I have to. I'm gonna have to do that because I actually haven't done it in a while. I need.
You made a Senate election night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, you should do those.
I'll see. I need to do one soon because the thing is, I did. I don't know. You saw my little election night thing. I basically did it like through Premiere Pro. So
Yeah, I do mine in Google Slides.
right. Is it easier through there?
I was low-key kind of given the slides, like I didn't make them myself, but
Okay.
you can get used to it. It's not that hard.
Right. Yeah, it's probably not like that difficult. So currently, I have like 7 people right now. Everybody, Let's Talk Politics is almost at 1K. So everybody in the chat right now, go subscribe to Let's Talk Politics. Like,
Yep, almost at 1,000.
just a second. I wonder if they can. Oh wait, I don't know if they can hear you. I don't know if they can hear you because I don't have
On your stream or my stream?
on my stream. I don't think they can hear you because no, they don't, because I forgot to add desktop audio. So actually they probably can't hear you at all.
Did you add it still or no?
Yeah, I think I can. Let me see. Mac OS audio capture, is that what it is? Desktop, yeah, okay, yeah. Desktop audio capture. Hello, talk.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, perfect, yeah.
Alright, good. How many people do you have?
I currently have like 6 people. Oh, but you know what it's gonna do now? It's gonna be like a double mic thing now. So like they're probably
Yeah, that's not good.
yeah. I don't know if anybody in the chat, because no one's typing in the chat right now. So I don't know like how it probably sounds or whatever, but
If you can, could you put the link to my channel in your comment section?
yeah, here I'll just put it in the thing. That's what I'll do.
Okay.
Yeah.
My peak viewers, I think, was at 10, but we're at 6 right now.
Right. Usually I get like when I announce the stream, I get like 40.
Yeah, that's good.
So I just put his link in the chat, guys. Oh yeah, he can hear double mic. I knew it. I figured it was gonna be a double mic.
Is it bad?
It probably is really bad. More than likely. Let me turn off mine, because it's gonna. I don't know if you guys can still hear my voice. It probably doesn't sound as good, but I have no idea. I don't know if they can hear me. Oh no, they're not gonna be able to hear me. No, they can't. But wait, actually, you know what? Hold on, talk right now.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, actually, never mind. It kind of works out because your voice is loud and the mic's picking it up. So actually, they could probably still hear you anyways.
People tell me my mic is pretty low all the time, but
It actually doesn't really. Oh yeah, somebody just commented better. Okay, good.
okay. I'm gonna check out your stream real quick.
Okay, cool. So currently, right now, I am at. Hold on. Oh wow, bro, I hate it when there's the thing on the side it like goes behind. Okay, so currently, guys, I currently have these new color schemes that I made. These are basically a color scheme from like mapchart.com. That's where I basically got the colors from. But currently, I'm going to be filling out a little Senate map here. So more than likely, all of these states are going to go solid Republican without any serious challenge. I think that the state of West Virginia is probably going to be a completely safe Republican state. Joe Manchin will probably not even run for re-election. And so because of that, I feel like he is going to dwindle. And more than likely, the state will probably vote heavily Republican, and Jim Justice is probably going to be the Republican nominee there. So because of that, the state's probably going to be safe. The state of New Jersey, I am actually going to put it as a likely category. It depends if Bob Menendez kind of makes it past the primary. That may be some untapped potential for Republicans if he actually does pass the primary, because if that is the case, it'll probably be a much closer election because he has like a what, like a 10% approval rating in New Jersey. Like they're ridiculously low. So because of that, there's an echo.
There's echo.
Like what, from your stream to my stream, or just like in general?
I don't know why there's echoes.
What is it? Like is it like you hear my voice twice? Hold on, let me see. Usually I don't really have trouble with the stream. Oh crap. Usually I usually don't have trouble with these.
This is my first stream, so
Let me see. Unhide. Oh, okay, that's why. Hold on. I figured it out. Something's going. Yep. Okay, I know why. I know what's going on. Sorry, guys. I was very confused, but now I know exactly what's going on. I'm gonna fix this right away. Yep. Okay. There should no longer be any double mic now, or any echo or anything. Can you hear it?
is there a double mic?
There should be no
Yeah,
more.
there is.
There should be no more echo.
It is.
There's still an echo.
Yeah, there is.
Are you sure? Because I currently
Is there an echo, guys? Because I think there's an echo.
see. He just said, "There you go."
Oh, no, yeah, now you fixed it. Yeah, now you fixed it.
Yeah, I figured. I was like, I'm more than likely certain that I got it. Okay, perfect.
Okay, let's go.
All right, perfect. No, just some streaming issues, guys. I'll be making sure that that doesn't really happen again. But welcome, guys. I see the chat's kind of, but I guess these are all people from your stream, right? Wasn't this everybody from like yours?
Yeah, I don't think anybody from yours is actually no. We got someone new, Dylan.
Let me see. Oh yeah. All right. Okay. Now we're good. All right. Hold on. Let me go to the map now. So now that we are good on that, so now more than likely, I think that Montana and Ohio are both going to be over 5-point wins. It seems like more than likely Trump's probably going to win Montana by over 20, and he's going to win Ohio by over 10. And I just can't see the ticket splitting being that bad where he wins the state by 13, but Ohio goes red on the Senate level by like a point or 2 points. That seems a little bit really far fetched. And if you even look at state, like just the state senates on presidential years, the only time in the past two cycles where some state cross voted was the state of Maine, where they had basically elected Susan Collins with Joe Biden. And the reason why they did that is because in Maine, they are more very politically savvy people. And so basically, what they did is they voted for Susan Collins to kind of check Joe Biden in the Senate, basically. So, like, there was basically a sort of consensus with independents, like, okay, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden, but I'm going to give him a balance and of check by voting for the Republican candidate. That's why she was able to win her race by 8, but he ended up winning this thing by 9. There was like perfect split ticket voting there. I think the Minnesota Supreme Court just allowed a second Democratic nominee into the 2024 general. What does that even mean? What does that mean? I don't really understand that. I also think Texas and Florida will probably be likely Republican states on the map as well. I kind of can't see Ted Cruz losing re-election at this point. I also can't really see Rick Scott losing, even though he's won his races very, very closely. I still can't really see him losing just because of the fact that the state's basically trended right off a cliff, and Texas, especially with Trump possibly winning it close to 10 percentage points. What do you have Trump winning Texas by? Because I actually have him winning Texas by almost 10. I have him winning it like
Yeah.
by 9.5.
I don't think if you get 10, he would be extremely likely. But I think it would probably be a likely margin, probably in the likely column. Have him winning it by around a 7 to 8, probably 8 percentage points.
I think 8 is somewhat decent, but I think he
Yeah, I
might
think
be
8.
I think he might be winning
Because
it closer to 10
because
right now.
surprisingly, like a lot of Hispanics of Texas, and you can compare this to Florida, they surprisingly vote more Republican than what some people may think.
No, it's way more. I think Trump won
Yeah,
the Hispanic vote in
they're more
Florida.
conservative actually.
Yeah, they are because it's a lot of Cuban voters. And the
Yeah.
problem is, if you understand electoral politics, like to a certain extent, a lot of the voters in the southern part of Texas are Tejano voters, and those voters are basically Mexicans that have been Americans for like 200 years. They've been in southern Texas for forever. So yes, they are technically Mexican slash Hispanics, but they are more in tune with their American heritage type, and they're more of a they are kind of act more so like a Midwestern voter, and that's why you saw the shift of 2016 to 2020, except the only difference is that those voters took a little bit longer to sort of shift rather than actual Midwestern voters. Those voters took a cycle extra to really shift to Donald Trump. And I feel like Donald Trump would be the only Republican candidate to actually win Texas by a likely margin. I actually don't even think Ron DeSantis would win it by a likely margin. I think he'd probably end up winning it by about 3 or 4 points. I think he'd do okay because he'd probably do a little bit better in the suburbs compared to Trump. But I think with a lot of like low propensity voters, I think he would just not do as well as Trump because Trump has very effectively managed to, you know, do a sort of like he very effectively hit all the points when it came to border security, and it's really kind of his thing per se, and he's kind of made it a part of his Make America Great Again brand. And so a lot of low propensity voters, when they think of Trump, they think about border security. With DeSantis, they think, oh, he's the governor from Florida. So it doesn't necessarily correlate that well to the general. Jake Edwards said, "Can I join the stream?" As of right now, this is going to be a quick stream, and this is not necessarily like a call-in stream, so I am not going to be having people join. However, maybe in the future I could do like a little bit of like a semi call-in stream. So like you would
Also,
basically, yeah.
someone from my chat, Tommy Boy, says I think Democrats are manipulating the abortion issue to drive up turnout, which happened in 2022, and they will
Right.
strategically put meaningless ballot measures on the ballot in swing states to claim abortion is on the ballot.
Mm,
And actually, I think it's going to be the same case with to save democracy, quote unquote, which is what
right.
they're trying to do. And
Yeah.
basically, a vote for Joe Biden, even if you may not like him, is a vote to prevent Trump out of office.
Guys, the problem with yeah, this is the thing, guys. With, Trump and Biden, the problem with Biden is that, you know what the thing is that Biden is not a very good orator. That's the major issue with him. If Biden was even like 10 years younger, Biden would be polling way, way better, like a lot better. He would probably if Biden was 10 years younger than what he is today, he'd probably be winning re-election with North Carolina. I wouldn't really be surprised if that was the case.
And also, main reason why he won back in 2020 was because he was seen like more of a moderate candidate, which in 2024 he's not going to be, viewed as the same
That was
way.
mostly the thing. He was viewed as an unknown quantity in 2020, and he was mostly tied to Obama, so he was kind of able to get some of the Midwestern votes from that older Obama coalition. So basically in 2020, he was able to kind of split those Midwestern coalitions just enough. and he was able to get black turnout up a lot in places like Georgia, Philadelphia, and Michigan, which gave him these really large victories. But now that he's kind of struggling with all these demographics, it's going to be a very big problem for him coming forward. I mean, I just can't see. I've already said this. It's basically impossible that Biden can win Wisconsin. I don't think he's going to do it. The state is the most, it's out of all of these swing states, it is the widest swing state. It is also one of the more rural swing states. And I just can't see Biden getting the math to reach what he got there. Now, does that mean Trump's going to overperform his 2020 performance? I mean, more than likely he probably will, but there's always the chance that Trump doesn't get that turnout because really, when you predict these things, it all depends on what do you think each candidate's going to get nationally? I personally think Trump right now is currently sitting at like maybe 76, 77 million votes, and Biden's probably sitting at like 75, 76. That's roughly what I'm thinking of. So it's kind of a tied national environment. And the reason why Trump is able to do that is because states like Illinois and New York have gotten significantly closer, and some of these red states are going to get a lot redder, and that mainly will be it. But I think Biden will probably lose some voters in some states and gain voters in other states. Like, I think in some of the Democratic states, he may actually be able to outperform his 2020 performance. But in a lot of the red states, he's probably going to lose a lot of votes in a lot of the red
And
states.
yeah, someone from my chat, conservative Hawkeye politics, says I'm more confident in Michigan than Wisconsin. Weirdly, which I kind of disagree with that. I think Wisconsin would vote to the right of Michigan. Honestly,
I could see that being the case. However, the Michigan, it looks really bad for a it looks very bad for Biden.
yeah, because of the
I personally wouldn't be surprised if Michigan votes to the right of either Rust Belt state. As of right now, I don't really think that's the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if it were to.
also one point I want to make in Michigan is because
Somebody
is
said,
that
"What is your house prediction?" on my chat. Somebody said, "What is your house prediction?" I will be posting that very soon. I'm not gonna do it on stream right now because I kind of have to refresh myself on some things. Well, actually, have you been looking up like just being keeping track of like the house races in general?
no, I don't focus too much on the house.
I need to really focus. I mean, I did one the other week, and I think I had Republicans at like 227 to like
I think
214.
Democrats are gonna win. I don't think Republicans are gonna win that.
I don't think that makes sense though, because basically this is a
Oh,
president it's a presidential year. And if Trump right now, if I have Trump winning 312 electoral college votes, I can't have
yeah.
Democrats winning the House because
Yet again,
really wouldn't
remember
the
Republicans
math
barely won.
the math wouldn't really add up. But yeah, but that was a year where Trump was not on the ballot. Now he is going to be on the ballot. And whenever Trump is on the ballot, he tends to have a lot of coattails. Remember in 2020, they lost, the Democrats actually lost seats in 2020 when Biden won. Despite Trump losing the election, Democrats still lost Senate seats. Republicans were actually the ones to net gain. So it clearly seems to me that Trump has a really big boost down ballot because it's like, oh, okay, if I'm voting for Trump, okay, I'm gonna just vote for everybody Republican down ballot. Like it's kind of people kind of vote on vibes, like Radio Politics basically says people vote on vibes for a lot of the down ballot races and even for some Republican, races. And what's actually quite funny? I feel like there are a lot of voters that voted for Biden in 2020 that were like, oh, he's not Trump, I'm going to vote for him. But I feel like this time around, you're going to have a lot more people that are going to vote for Trump simply because, oh, bro, his mugshot was so badass. Like, you're going to have a lot more low propensity normie Trump voters than you did in the last two cycles. And I think that's why he is going to get his turnout higher. Now, I do think Trump's going to lose a lot of his base from 2020 in terms of like white college educated women and men. I think he's going to lose a lot of ground with those. And I think he's going to lose a lot of ground with non Cuban Hispanics. But I think the growth that he'll get from like Cuban Hispanics and young Hispanic voters, I think is going to offset the loss from the older Hispanics. I think Biden will probably do decent with the senior vote. In my personal opinion, I've been realizing a lot of older voters that I know personally are kind of trending towards Biden right now. And a lot of the younger middle aged people are very, very heavily focused on voting for Trump, and a lot of non-college educated people that I know are also going towards Trump, but also a lot of because right now I go to university. It is currently located, I think, in Osceola County in Florida. It's the county that Orlando's in, basically.
Central Florida.
Yes, it's in yes, it's that one. And so this county votes super Democrat, but I'm not really getting the vibe of that here at all. Like, at all. Everybody I know is going to vote for Trump. Everyone that I know, except for like maybe two. And I've met hundreds of people in the past,
Yeah,
like,
especially in
few
the
years.
university.
Especially
Universities
in the past.
usually.
What's up, Never Ending Air? How you doing? Hey, Starry, I saw you. Sorry, I've been kind of talking here. I've been just kind of going back and forth, but I'm trying to get to all the chats. I feel like Trump will win Wisconsin, Michigan, but not Pennsylvania. That's still, I guess it could be a possibility, but also as well, guys, like if you really look at the way the Rust Belt has voted, they kind of vote in unison. And I can't really see how that is gonna break the cycle. I almost think it's more likely that Trump will probably win the Rust Belt, but lose Arizona and Nevada before he loses the whole Rust Belt together. That I feel like is more likely. And I also feel like there is always the case where Nevada would still just ever so slightly vote for the Democrats, probably. That probably could be the case. So, I'm not gonna lie, it would be pretty cool to see Trump get his 306 electoral college vote victory just for the sake of, irony. But I think in terms of right now, I think that he probably does get the 312 electoral college votes. But I think Arizona right now, it is a problem because there are some things that happen there that tend to make the state vote Democrat, but I also think that the state in general as a whole is also just becoming more democratic in general. So I think it is going to be a problem for Trump, and I feel like if there is any state Trump would probably not win, it probably is the state of Arizona, even before Michigan, in my opinion. On my map, I actually have Michigan probably at a 0.7 victory, while Arizona's probably at a 0.3 victory. Okay, so we have a chat. It says, "Hello, bro. How do you feel about Biden catching up those last few days, especially in the swing states like Arizona and Pennsylvania?" Okay, guys. So, okay, first of all, the Quinnipiac poll is a big outlier. Tends to be a very big leaning liberal poll. That is Biden's best poll in a very long time. And if you actually look at the crosstabs, it has Trump winning Hispanics by 4 points, but he's losing the white vote by like 13 points, 12 points. So the crosstabs in the poll are all screwed up. Biden is not winning the white vote by 12 points. That's not going to happen. Trump will probably win the white vote by maybe 10 to 15 points. That's probably what he's going to win the white vote by. I don't think Biden would win the white vote by 12 while losing Hispanics by 5. In a scenario, maybe like later on, maybe if it's like Gavin Newsom and Tucker Carlson, maybe okay, Gavin actually could win the white vote and then Hispanic voters turn to Tucker Carlson. Like, I'm not saying that can't happen, but I think as of right now, I just can't really see that happening. I don't think that would necessarily happen. And also this he said, especially in swing states like Arizona, Pennsylvania, that Pennsylvania poll's like a +8 poll. That's like his best poll in like a really long time. And even though it shouldn't necessarily be ignored because we've been taking all the polls seriously, I do think that it might also be a very serious outlier as well. And if at the end of the day, guys, Trump is still up in the aggregate by 1.8 percentage points. If you were to win the popular vote by 2, it would seriously cause problems for Biden. That would be really bad for Biden because
I think he might be able to.
I think he might. I wouldn't
Yeah.
honestly be surprised because really the polls have always underestimated Trump. Now this cycle it's kind of hard to tell, especially this early on, like because we've never seen Trump do so good in the aggregates in general. So like if Biden's support is underestimated somehow, which I honestly don't even see how that would be the case. I feel like most Trump supporters are not answering polling data. A lot of the people who answer the polling data tend to there's always a little bit of a college educated skew towards them for the most part. So at that point, if Trump's up in the polls, even if they do always have a college educated, skew towards them, if that is the case, then that is a big deal. Hello, On Point Politics, new subscriber here, just tuning before South Carolina primary before the Dems. Yes, that's right. I do know that, guys, I do know that Biden, there is the South Carolina primary today, but you guys got to understand Biden's an incumbent. Dean Phillips is not necessarily a huge challenger, so I wasn't going to necessarily stream that today. You know what I also think is very unfair to Trump, in my personal opinion? He's been leading a bunch of polls the entire cycle. And the second Biden has like a +6 poll, that's the poll that the news covers. I have not seen CNN or the news cover a poll that actually has Trump up by more than a point or like even a national tie. It's always when by the news, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, they all report when Trump is only up, when Trump is down by 5 or 6 in a singular poll, but never when he's up by 5 or 6. Now, you did have that one poll back then, the Washington Post poll that had Trump up by 10, which honestly, if Trump won the popular vote by 10 percentage points, that would be
That's
interesting.
not gonna happen.
That's not going to happen, but it would be very interesting because at that point, states like Illinois and New York would basically.
That would just be a like Ronald Reagan landslide 2.0.
Yeah, it would literally, Illinois and New York would pretty much end up voting for Trump at that point by probably a likely margin, to be honest. And like Wisconsin and Georgia would go.
That basically exceeds Trump's best case scenario. It
Yeah,
like goes
pretty
over.
much. As of right now, I do actually have Trump's best case scenario at winning the popular vote by probably like 5 points. I do think there is a long stretch shot that he can win it by 5. Like that's his absolute best case scenario.
I mean, it's like
And the reason why I'm
New
saying
York.
that, the reason why I'm saying that, and really technically, he really could win it by 7 in a best case scenario, but that's because if you just apply the polling adjustment to the 4.8 lead he had the other week, I mean, it would give him a 7-point win. So he could theoretically be in a realm to win the popular vote by, the mid single digits if things go right for him. But I'm not too sure about that. If that were to happen, it would be a disaster. It would just be bad. I'll actually just show what that would look like. If Trump were to win the popular vote by 5 points, Texas, Florida would all be safe. North Carolina would be likely, including Wisconsin. Washington and Oregon would be likely states. Colorado, I think, would end up going down below the 5-point threshold, in my personal opinion. And as well as the state of New Mexico probably votes lean Republican. And that timeline, Arizona and Georgia would both be likely categories. But I'd actually probably characterize Georgia as probably an R+10 victory at that point in time. Because the reason, and you might say, okay, why do you have Georgia voting to the right of North Carolina? The reason why I think Trump would be able to win the popular vote by 5 is if he like super overperforms with black voters and Hispanic voters. That would be the main reason why
I think he might though. He might.
he might. And that's why I say if he does win it by 5, Georgia would actually vote to the right of North Carolina like it did before because the black vote turnout would just be really bad for Biden. And it's actually quite funny, but I do think this scenario would be like a high turnout election. I think it's actually more likely Biden wins with lower turnout than higher turnout, believe it or not. If and it's simple. It's simple analysis. Everybody said, "Oh, Democrats always, they always do better in high turnout elections." But if you actually really look at it, they kind of don't actually do. If you actually look at the 2012 results, it's literally just simple math, right? If you look here, turnout was lower, right? Obama got 65 million votes, or
Also,
66. Mitt Romney got
Trump got 10
61.
million more votes in 2020 than he did in 2016.
Right,
Trump
but
did
what
better in 2020.
Right, but what I'm gonna show you guys is that okay, see, look, this is a relatively low turnout election. Obama got 65 million, Mitt Romney got 60 million. You see, he beats him pretty easily. In the next election, turnout goes up by 2 points, and Trump wins 306 to 232. And then when turnout is even higher than that, Trump is only 40,000 votes away from victory. However, if you look at the 2008 election, even though, yes, it is 61%, when Republicans have low turnout and Democrats, like the whole point I'm trying to make here is that Republicans actually do better in higher turnout elections. Because this compared to 2020 is low turnout, really, because 66% voted in 2020 as opposed to 61, and Obama won very comfortably in a slightly lower turnout election.
Also, I think COVID made more people vote because they were just like not sure how how economics would stand.
Right, yeah, that too. I feel like Trump's probably going to exceed his 74 million. He is going to definitely win with a more younger coalition. I don't think he's going to get a lot of like middle-aged like married moms. I don't really think he's going to get a lot of those. I think a lot of those are going to go towards Biden in my personal opinion. So he is going to exceed his totals, but I think he's going to win it with a way different coalition than everybody's used to. And back to the R+5 map for Trump, he'd win Nevada very easily. He'd win Michigan. He'd win Pennsylvania by over 5 points. Minnesota, I think, in this scenario would basically flip. And I think that the state of New Hampshire would flip. The second congressional district in Nebraska would be an easy win, including the second congressional district in Maine, or excuse me, the at-large vote. And I think like states like Connecticut, Rhode Island would fall into the likely category. And I'm actually going to add one more likely state on here, and you're gonna see, and you're gonna be like, whoa. Likely, Delaware, and New Jersey,
Yeah,
I think would be
that's
leaning.
good.
I think New Jersey would be leaning an R+5. I think Donald Trump would probably win Virginia by a lean margin. And more than likely, I think the states of Illinois and New York would both be tilt Republican states in an R+5 Trump environment. The reason why, again, is because of the fact he would get this really large national lead from Black and Hispanic voters, which make up a large share of the electorate in Illinois and New York. And so if Trump's really winning the popular vote by 5 points, I can realistically see him winning Illinois and New York and
By
them
the way,
trending.
someone in the chat has a question. They're asking what is this map? So if you can explain.
This map is a map if Trump were to win the popular vote by 5 points. So if he were to get like 53% of the popular vote and Biden gets like 47, or he gets like 50 and Biden gets like 45, and the other third party candidates get the rest, something to that effect. This is probably the map. And this is actually, because I've said, oh, Trump can win in a landslide map. I've had this map before in a video as well. Um, but yes, I do actually think Illinois, New York, in an R+5 environment for Trump, I think they would end up trending to the right by like 10 points each. And that's why I have them as tilt states. You could even make the case that they'd probably vote lean as well.
Also, someone's asking, do you think Haley has a better chance at beating Biden if by any chance she is the
Okay.
nominee?
This is okay. You know what? We're gonna do the map. We're gonna do the map, and I'm gonna show you guys how Haley's gonna get her cheeks absolutely clapped by Biden,
Because
and
according
it's
to
gonna
one poll,
make
she was up by
complete
17.
and it's gonna make complete sense. I'm gonna explain to you guys why. In this poll with Nikki Haley, here's the thing with that. A lot of people that would vote for Trump, if it's Nikki Haley and Biden, are either gonna vote for RFK or they're going to just vote for Biden. Me personally, if Nikki Haley were to be the Republican nominee, I'd probably end up voting for Biden because she makes Biden look non-establishmentarian. It's that bad.
That is true.
It's really bad. She's the only nominee that if I were to if that were to be the case, I would literally vote for Biden at that point. I wouldn't even vote third party because I'd rather Biden win than an unknown quantity at that point win. Because I'd at least rather, okay, Biden may accidentally hit the nuclear
I'd
missile
just rather
button.
not vote.
Well, I'd still vote for Biden because I'd rather at least be like, okay, he might accidentally hit the nuclear button instead of Nikki Haley being on her menstrual cycle and hitting the button every day. Like at that point, it would no, I'm being serious. At that point, I'd rather just have a president that fall asleep in a meeting with Putin than Nikki Haley trying to use her feminist powers to defeat Putin. Like at that point, I'd rather Biden be the president. At that point, I would legit campaign for Biden if that were to happen. I'm being so serious.
That's crazy.
I would literally vote for Biden at that point and campaign for him because I would not want Nikki Haley to be the nominee or be the president of the United States. So you guys are saying that your comments are not showing up? That's kind of weird. I don't really know why that's the case.
I think that's not our fault. That's on their.
I have no clue. Yes, I'd rather vote for Biden than Nikki Haley, to be honest. I'd rather. Yes, it's that bad. And a lot of Trump supporters feel that way too. Now, maybe not vote for Biden, but they'd either just sit out or vote for RFK. If it was like DeSantis and Joe Biden, I'd vote for RFK.
I'd low-key vote for RFK too.
Yeah, I'd vote for RFK in that scenario. But yeah, exactly. Look, I'd rather have Biden as the president again to weaken the Democratic Party than have Haley weaken us. I mean, that's another way to look at it. But I'd just rather not be. I'd rather accidentally get into war due to feminist woman power. Like at that point, to be honest. And it's not even that she's a woman, because honestly, like I'd vote for Carrie Lake for the president. If Carrie Lake were to run for president, I'd probably end up voting for her because I think she's a stand-up individual. But I think that
You get destroyed though.
Nikki Haley represent. Well, I don't know about that. I feel like by the time she were to run,
Who even win Arizona's governor race? Of
oh,
course she's gonna
okay,
get
but okay, but okay, but we all know what happened. That was not a. She did not. She did YouTube.
I know. In
She
that case, then
yeah
yeah. Okay.
yeah no 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 no.
If you're saying that, then yeah. Okay.
Yeah no. No.
You can't say it on YouTube though,
Exactly. But we all know that.
because I actually got warned before.
We all know. So, if Nikki Haley were to be the Republican nominee, what would happen? States like Kansas would be closer, states like South Carolina would be closer, and actually I'm going to get to this and explain to you why. In 2010, in a Republican wave year, she only won South Carolina by 6 points in an R wave year of like +6. So to say that Nikki Haley would be this electoral juggernaut
Not
would
in your own state.
no, it would not work out. Um,
Her state doesn't even like
do
her.
you think RFK is gonna help Trump more than Biden? I actually think that RFK is probably gonna hurt Biden more than Trump, because a lot of people that don't like both of them have the option to vote for RFK. No
That's what I was saying.
diehard Trump supporter or somebody who's already voted for Trump twice and still likes Trump is gonna vote for RFK unless Trump really messes up.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
it was Lake's fault, even though it was
I think it
close.
was Cornel West.
Somebody put it was Lake's fault. It was too, even though it was close, she ran too divisive a campaign focused on election integrity. That is true. However, I still feel like, regardless of the fact, I still think that it was not fair and it was very close. I think Hobbs won it by 0.4%. Like it was crazy close.
It was under a percentage point.
Yeah, it was crazy close. That's why I don't think that. And Ruben Gallego is
Carrie
like
Lake should have won.
Ruben Gallego. First of all, Cinema might run, so that's gonna help Carrie Lake. And with Gallego, I honestly think Gallego's even worse than Hobbs. And
I
she's
still have
attacking him on all
Gallego
the
winning
right
it.
things. And also, Carrie Lake is avoiding a divisive primary, and she has slightly more establishmentarian support. That is also gonna help her a lot too. Um, in my opinion. Why South Carolina is not dark? Because she's going to end up losing a lot of Black American voters, Hispanic voters, and a lot of voters that would just straight up vote for Donald Trump to begin with. That's why it would be the case. I'd also think North Montana would also fall under a 10-point victory as well with Nikki Haley on the ballot. And you could even say maybe even Missouri would be a state that probably even fall under the 10-point threshold. A lot of these Democratic states would be basically safe. I think New Mexico would be over a 10-point win. Illinois, New York, the old Democratic coalition would basically come back here. All of those, union worker voters, all those Midwestern voters that would vote for Donald Trump in the 2020 election and 2016 elections would just all revert backwards to Biden at this point. I even think that she'd lose the first district of she'd lose the second congressional district of Maine. I don't even think she'd win that. She'd lose New Hampshire by a little bit. She probably actually overperforms Trump in New Hampshire, funny enough. I'd actually say that maybe Biden only wins it by 5 or something like that. Or wait, well, no, actually, that doesn't make sense because I have Trump only losing it by 3, so never mind. States like Minnesota and Michigan would end up being likely victories, while Wisconsin and Pennsylvania would be lean dem victories. Virginia would be over 10 points. I think Arizona, funny enough, I think Arizona would be a tilt Democratic state. Like they trend to the right because Nikki Haley appeals more to the neocon voter,
Yeah, she's like a neocon.
but I don't think it would be enough for her to even win them to begin with. So not only does she lose the Trump base, she doesn't even convert enough neocons to vote for her in some states anyways. I'm actually going to share something here that I think would be like a super surprise flip. Like not a super surprise flip, but like a whoa kind of factor. I'll show something in a second. I think maybe Nevada, it's like the 2.4 margin from 2020. It would probably vote exactly how it voted in 2020. I think the second congressional district in Nebraska would be close, but I think Biden would still win it. And Georgia, I think with the African American turnout, I think he'd win it very, very easily. He'd win it super, super easily. I'm not gonna lie. I think North Carolina would be that big flip that he'd get. I also would say he probably even wins Ohio. I'd actually have Biden probably winning Ohio against Nikki Haley. I think she wins Iowa. I think that Florida is probably going to be like a point
No,
victory.
I think she won Ohio.
No, she's not. She's not gonna. The polls don't have her winning Ohio against Biden. There's a bunch of polls that have her losing to Biden in Ohio by 4 or 3 points.
But yet again, you had that one poll say she's up by 17. So
Yeah, but that's Wisconsin, not Ohio. And also, I feel like at that point, I feel like
that's even better then because Wisconsin is more left than Ohio. So
right, but I feel like a lot of Biden's support would be underestimated in polling data to begin with, because Nikki Haley would become the establishment candidate in this election. That's what I'm trying to say here. Texas would be the closest, one of the closer states. I think Texas would be really, really close, but I don't think it'd flip. I also think Ohio would vote to the left of North Carolina in this cycle, and I think Alaska would probably be like a 2 point win for Nikki Haley, 3 point win. Again, she'd improve with the neocon kind of voter, but she would lose all of the MAGA base, and so Biden would end up winning this election with 337 electoral votes to Nikki Haley's 201 electoral college
you get like
votes.
the 2012 repeat.
It's something like that, but like slightly different. It's like a
She be another John McCain 2.0.
basically it's like a slightly different 2012. With Ron DeSantis, with right now, if Ron DeSantis were have to become the Republican nominee, I think he would have done okay, but it wouldn't have been enough for him to win. I think he would have won Ohio by a lean
Probably
margin.
barely lose.
Texas would have been a lean margin. Florida would have been likely. That would have been the one place where he would have overperformed. Kansas would be over 10 points, but I think it'd be under 15. South Carolina, I actually think would be a state that would be like a sleeper trend. I think it would only end up being like a 6 point victory for him, 7 point victory. There's polling with Joe Biden and Ron DeSantis, and he's only up by like 2 or 3 points on Biden in the state. So even though I don't think that's 100% accurate, I do think there is some truth in those polls. I think Biden would do really well in some parts of the country. I think he'd do really well in the classic Democratic states that he won in 2020. Illinois and New York would end up being safe again. I do think that the congressional district in Maine would stay, and I actually think that Ron DeSantis would actually get the second congressional district in Nebraska. That I do think he'd get, and I actually think maybe a state like Virginia could be closer. I think he would get it closer, but not in the lean category. Um I think Alaska is going to be like a 6, 7 point win for him. And I think North Carolina would also end up being like a 3, 4 point win for DeSantis as well. I think Ohio would be like a 4.5 point win. And I think Texas would be like a 2 to 3 point win for DeSantis. I'm going to do the Vivek scenario. Somebody's asking, how do I think Vivek would do? Before I get into it, I think Vivek would barely lose. Like it would be so goddamn close, but I think Vivek would still lose, unfortunately. And I'm gonna explain why. Minnesota would be an easy win for Biden. And what's gonna happen here is the Rust Belt is actually gonna go super, super Democrat. And it's actually funny, but I'm actually gonna have Pennsylvania as lean Dem and Wisconsin as likely Dem. And the reason why I'm going to have this like this is because DeSantis is going to completely tank with the Rust Belt coalition that Trump built up built up in the 2016 and 2020 presidential cycles. If you look at the 2012 race, you can see that Pennsylvania was more conservative than Wisconsin and Michigan and Minnesota. And I believe the same goes here. I think yeah, see, look, this Pennsylvania was closer than Wisconsin at this time. And Minnesota used to be actually the most right left state out of the four. But I think in this case, I think Biden would probably retain his support with a lot of Rust Belt voters. However,
someone in my chat
huh?
said, this is delusional. Nebraska's second red is crazy. They want to know why you have it red.
The reason why is because he would do really well with the neocon vote in that particular area, and he would probably really be able to drive up the score there. That's the one thing. I think DeSantis might actually be able to utilize that turnout to his advantage, like that lower vote turnout to his advantage. And you're actually going to see here, like, oh, this might be a pretty interesting election in a second. I think New Hampshire could actually be closer. I think it's probably a 3 or 4 point win. Georgia, I still think DeSantis would win it by like a point and a half, but not as much as Trump. I do think he gets Arizona, and I actually think DeSantis would get Nevada, which would end up leaving the Electoral College at a 269 to 269 tie. So without a third party candidate, you would have had an Electoral College tie between both of them. Oh wow, it says
What?
oh wow, that's crazy. 50 Cent is talking about Trump being a better choice than Biden. The rapper 50 Cent.
Someone in my chat said, if Biden isn't the nominee and isn't fit enough, do you think Kamala Harris would do well?
Wait, what? What happened?
Red Elephant Politics in my chat is saying, if Biden isn't the nominee and he isn't fit enough, do you think Kamala Harris would do better?
Against who? Trump or DeSantis?
They didn't say anything about
Because
that.
if it's Trump, she's cooked. If it's Trump, she's cooked. She's over. She's done. If it's Trump, it's done. Like he would win 350 plus
It'll
electoral
be like a
votes.
Hillary Clinton 2.0.
He'd win 350 plus
Yeah, he
electoral
said,
votes.
yeah, it's Trump.
He'd win 350 electoral votes in a tight environment. All the states would trend right. Like it would be a very easy election for him. It would not be hard. With Vivek, I think he would get very close to winning. Like it'd be very close. I think Ohio would be under that 10-point threshold. I think he does well in North Carolina. I think Texas and Florida would be likely, but I think Texas would be lean because I think that, that is more of Trump's strength. It really comes for the southern border, but I think Vivek would still hold on in my case. However, I think Arizona would not vote for Vivek. I think that since he is that more Trumpian candidate in the way he frames himself, I feel like a lot of people would be disillusioned with him there. However, I do actually have a pretty interesting analysis about this. I do think he would lose the second congressional district here. He'd win the main second congressional district. But I actually think New Hampshire would be like surprisingly close with Vivek as the nominee. I think he'd actually draw a pretty cool coalition of voters together, but I don't think it would be enough for him to win. I think he'd perform well in Minnesota. I think he'd actually almost win Michigan in this scenario. However, I think Pennsylvania would vote to the left of Michigan in this scenario. He'd end up winning Wisconsin. He would get Georgia. He'd also win Nevada by a pretty easy margin as well, but I think he wouldn't be able to win Virginia. And so you would end up with Joe Biden at 271 electoral votes to Vivek's 276 or 267 electoral college votes. This is what I kind of have as a scenario if he would have ran against Joe Biden. If he ran against Kamala, she'd be cooked too. He'd probably get 306 electoral college victory against Kamala Harris, or probably more than that. If it's Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, where do I even start with this? She is gonna completely hemorrhage the black vote. I think if Trump is the nominee and she is the nominee, I think he could have an actual shot at winning the African American vote. I think
He definitely won the popular vote, though.
he'd win the popular vote, but I think he'd actually be able to win black votes because what would happen is that there would be even more third party voting third party voting in this
Someone's
election.
asking, why do you think Vivek would not win Arizona? Isn't Nevada more blue?
Well, the reason why I don't think he'd win Arizona is because he is a very Trumpian candidate for the most part, and I think that he'd turn off a lot of suburban women away from him in one state. It would just be Arizona being Arizona pretty much. But I think that he'd do good in Nevada because he'd run up.
There's a lot of neocons too.
I understand that, but I feel like he would probably run up decent scores in the Las Vegas area. So I feel like in this that scenario, I think they'd both trend away from each other for the most part. Um, I think that here, what's actually quite funny is I actually think that Kamala Harris would do better in like the really progressive areas. Like I think she'd do a lot better there, but I think in terms of like just regular independence, she'd do really bad. I think she'd get a higher share of Democrats than Biden would, but I think she would just completely tank with
She
independent
did
voters.
terrible in her own primary.
She would do terrible with independent voters. So Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Minnesota would all be likely.
Democrats won't even get their high turnout too. They got
Yeah,
low turnout.
they would get low turnout. With the Rust Belt would be likely alongside a Minnesota flip probably. You'd probably have North Carolina being likely. Georgia would be likely as well. And you'd also have Arizona and Nevada all being likely Democratic states in that scenario. And here's the thing, guys, Trump would have to win less of the popular vote to get this victory against Kamala than he would Biden because he'd run up the score really high in the red states, if that makes sense. Like, she'd even get less support in the rural areas than Biden would. So in a tied national environment, Biden could theoretically still win with like Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada and Wisconsin or whatever. Like he could theoretically still win somehow, but if it's a tied popular vote between Trump and Harris, she'd automatically be cooked. Like she could win the I actually think if Harris were to win the popular vote by like 4.5 points, he'd still win 306 electoral college votes because she would just do that bad with independent voters. I think she would really turn off people. I think it wouldn't work out for her at all. I think, hello? What happened? Did he get disconnected? Or maybe he just left for a second. I don't know. But I think Virginia would end up being a lean, a Republican state. I think that a lot of these states would be close. I think Delaware would actually be way closer, and possibly even a Trump New Jersey one could even be on the table at that point in time. In my personal opinion, I think a New Jersey Trump one could be on the table. I think he wins New Hampshire very easily. And I think in this scenario, he'd win New York and Illinois by lean margins as well. I think he'd get 400 electoral college votes in this scenario.
Someone's asking if the GOP trifecta in 2024, what are the odds Democrats trifecta in 2028?
Well, I think that in 2028, I think it kind of depends on who's the nominee. I think it really depends on who's the nominee.
Maybe DeSantis or Vivek, probably.
I'm not too certain about. I mean, DeSantis maybe. Like if
Gavin Newsom, Gretchen
Vivek
Whitmer.
doesn't run, then DeSantis would for sure get the nomination. But if that were to happen, I actually think Gavin Newsom would beat DeSantis in a general election. I think he'd beat him, but like really close. Like it'd be a really close race.
Yeah, and I think Gretchen Whitmer could be a wild card candidate for the Democrats too. She'd
Mm,
do good in probably her own state.
right. I mean, I haven't looked too much into her, so I'd probably have to look, but I'm not too sure. But
Because there are rumors that she was going to run, but
if 2028 comes, I actually, you know what I think would be an interesting a sleeper trend is Alaska. I think Alaska would get really close. If it's Gavin and Ron DeSantis, I think that Gavin could actually probably run up some votes there. To be honest, I think he could run up votes there, and I think he could run up votes in Kansas and South Carolina as well, and probably even in Texas. Actually, he could probably run up a couple of votes too. You got to understand, even though Gavin Newsom is a pretty slimy politician in general, he probably would be able to appeal to some. You know, he would mostly appeal to a lot of suburban women, so I feel like he would be able to get turnout very high. I think New Mexico and Virginia, however, would be closer. I actually think Delaware would probably be a state that maybe could actually narrow up. If you look at the state without Joe Biden in 2016, Trump only lost it by 11 points. So I think if it is Gavin and Ron, I think Ron could get it under 5, but it could be a sleeper trend. But we'll wait and see. I think that Illinois and New York would still be closer just because of how bad Gavin Newsom would be, in my personal opinion. However, I think that Minnesota would just not vote for Ron DeSantis. I don't think it would happen. I think that at this point, DeSantis would do okay with the Trump base because in this hypothetical scenario, if Trump were to still be alive, I think he'd endorse DeSantis to run against Newsom. Or actually, well, you actually don't know because Trump has always been really friendly with Newsom, so I actually don't know who he'd endorse. Can you imagine if Trump is still alive in like the 2030s or
He
something?
can endorse people. He can endorse people.
Yeah, of course, but like, can you imagine if he's alive like in the 2030s or something like that, and he endorses like a Democrat, and then they just win like,
That would be crazy.
and he just they all win like 415 electoral college votes. Like that like scenario that all the Democrats wanted to happen, that it would have been like Biden wins 415 electoral college votes to Trump's like 120 or something like that. You know what I'm talking about or no?
Kind of. I don't know.
Well, anyways, I think in this scenario, DeSantis would lose the Rust Belt easily, even to Gavin. Maybe Wisconsin is a tilt state, but I think he'd still lose it just because I think Gavin Newsom would really go out there and tout the whole abortion thing. And I think on Ron DeSantis, I think the whole abortion thing would actually work, in my personal opinion. I also think the state wouldn't vote for him. I don't think Arizona would vote for him. I don't think
To be
Nevada would vote
honest,
for him, and I don't think Georgia would vote for him either. However,
Ron
I do
DeSantis
think
did
he'd
pretty
hold.
good.
I think he'd
Like,
hold on to North Carolina. I think he'd get North Carolina. So he'd be very short of losing the election if he would have won Georgia and then gotten Wisconsin and Nevada. Actually, that's still not even enough for him to win. He'd actually have to win another state on top of that. But this is my hypothetical scenario between Gavin and DeSantis for like a 2028 scenario. I think Gavin would basically just recreate Biden's victory pretty much. I might do another scenario like what if Robert F. Kennedy Jr. became the nominee this year for the Democrats? Like if he actually just straight up beat Biden. Hello?
yeah, yeah. I'm here.
Honestly, I think if Kennedy became I think if Kennedy stayed in the race, I think he actually could have beaten Biden in New Hampshire. Because
Yeah, maybe.
Biden didn't get that good of turnout, to be honest. Trump killed him in the turnout, like really bad. I think that he actually could have had a legitimate shot at beating him.
I think he'll do better as an independent though, rather than a Democrat.
I mean, we'll see.
Because if he's an independent and not a Democrat, he would take he would take votes from both instead of just only
I
Democrat.
think he's gonna take more votes away from I think he's gonna take more votes away from Biden. He'll still take some from Trump, but I think
I think
he's gonna
he'll
disproportionately take votes. I think it's gonna be like a 80% Biden, 20% Trump kind of thing. I think that's what he's gonna do, or maybe like 75% Biden, 25% Trump. It's definitely gonna be more than before, where like almost all the third party voters were Democrats. Like it'll be more, but I don't know. I think he'd still do decent, to be honest. And then on electoral college map, I actually, you know what the thing is? Not gonna lie, I think he would beat Trump in a general election. If he would have gotten the nomination, I think he would have been such an anomaly. I think he would have been able to beat him.
who RFK?
Yeah,
No.
I think he would have been able to do it.
Well, no, because you have these Democrats that too far left that they won't turn out for RFK and it'll help Trump win.
Nah, I think that no. I think RFK would have been able to do it. I personally might have voted for RFK if he was the Democratic nominee.
Someone's asking, what's your 2026 Senate map if Trump wins in 2024?
If Trump, okay, so let's see, because I actually haven't looked at any of that. Let's see. I haven't looked at the chat in a while. That's really bad.
That's my
Isn't
chat, by the way. So
let's oh it is? Okay.
yeah, it's my
Difficulty.
chat.
Isn't the Nevada caucus today? Oh yeah, but Trump gets 100% of the vote because he basically Nikki Haley signed up for the primary, not for the caucus, so he got 100% of the vote there basically. Because Ryan Blinkley is gonna get like 1% or something. If Trump has a good term, I think DeSantis would be Newsom. I don't know about that because a good term for Trump would mean Trump would actually pursue a lot of the policies he would want, and I think that would probably cause a lot of political fatigue for the Republicans. And then you have DeSantis come in, and it would be a whole thing. And then DeSantis would probably backtrack on questions about Trump, and that's going to hurt him with the Trump base. And Gavin Newsom's probably going to do a lot better with college educated and white suburban women. So because of that, I think Gavin would be him.
I think DeSantis debated Gavin really well, though.
Yeah, but
He overperformed, honestly.
but you know what the thing about that is? You want to.
Gavin's not a good debater.
I understand that he's not a good debater. I get it. But Joe Biden was not a good debater against Trump either. And look what happened. Biden still won.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So, and not only that, I just think really, I think DeSantis, personally, I think DeSantis would be more hated than Donald Trump once he gets to that point. Like if he were to get to the point of being in a general
Yeah, he probably would.
situation, he would be less favorable than Donald Trump. And I think Gavin Newsom, despite basically being a complete dickhead, I think he would still be able to. If you look at my map, I mean, he's not winning by that much. He's probably winning by like a combined total of like 120,000 votes. Like it's not a big margin. Maybe 200,000 because DeSantis would have to kind of catch up to him in like Arizona, which was a lean margin. But it's not that many votes. Like it's not that many votes that DeSantis would lose by. DeSantis wouldn't lose by 1 million votes nationwide.
Close.
It would still be close, but I think Gavin Newsom would be able to squeak him out.
Probably win like 272 electoral votes, or
I
278.
think Gavin would be able to get the 306.
Nah, he's not getting 300. There's no way.
No, Gavin would get the 300 electoral votes against DeSantis if Trump wins. However,
I mean, Biden barely got it.
huh?
If Biden barely got
Yeah,
it,
but
then
if
I don't
Biden
think.
barely got it, and he's what, like 81 years old, and he got elected at 78 years old, 79 years old. Gavin Newsom could definitely get 300 electoral college votes. There's like that there's no question about that. Especially if it's DeSantis and right after a Trump term, I think that Gavin could get the 300 electoral college votes. Because DeSantis wouldn't even do as well with Hispanic and African American voters. He wouldn't do that good. He would not. A lot of the African and Hispanic voters that would vote for Trump in 2024 in a big victory would probably end up not showing up or voting.
Wait,
Party.
didn't
They probably-
DeSantis win the Miami area though?
Yeah, but that's a gubernatorial race. That's not a general election for a presidential race. You got to understand that gubernatorial races are way different from Senate and presidential races. They're way different. Kansas has a Democratic governor, so it's basically like, oh, well, if this lady won, then Joe Biden can win Kansas in 2020. Like it's not the governor races don't necessarily translate to general election. Kemp won by 8, but Georgia's not a R+8 state. It's more like a R+1, R+2.
Yeah,
state.
governors would definitely overperform.
No, yeah, 100%. Especially if you're an incumbent, and imagine Charlie Kirk outspent. But what about Harris versus Newsom? Wouldn't Harris be the nominee? I don't know about that. I think it'd be a close convention. I think that if Harris and Newsom were to go at it in 28, I think it could actually go to the convention. If a certain series of events were to play out, I think it could probably go to the convention. I'm not gonna lie.
Someone's asking, do you think that every abortion ballot measure in 2024 is a pro-choice win? Saw a poll out of SD where their pro-choice ballot measure was up by 2%.
Wait, repeat it again. What was it that?
George McGovern is asking, do you think that every abortion ballot measure in 2024 is a pro-choice win?
Well, the thing with that is Trump has kind of been able to disassociate himself from the issue. Unlike most Republicans, he's basically said, okay, I don't support late term abortion. Those people that support 6, 7, 8, 9 months are the extremists, not us, not me. And he's also said that, well, when I appointed the judge and now they overturned it to the states, now the states get to decide. He didn't outright say, well, we got it overturned, so therefore abortion is banned. Like he didn't say that. And I don't even think he'd support a national ban because he hit DeSantis on a 6-week ban. So I doubt Trump would pass a national ban or would even be supportive of
The
that.
thing is, Democrats are trying to make it seem like Trump is very far right, extreme.
He's very not.
He's not.
Really not. And it's reflective in the polling because Biden only leads Trump on abortion in most election polls anywhere from like 1 to 5 percentage points, when usually the Democrats are leading on that issue by 15 to 25 points in some cases. So all of the strong Democratic issues that Biden should be strong on, he's basically a wash in them. And then all the issues that Trump was already good at, now Trump's ahead by even more. The only issue that Biden is up on Trump in like the double digits and high single digits is climate change. And it's only like a 8 to 13 point win depending on the poll that you're looking at. Those should be 20, 30 point wins for climate change for Biden.
He's underperforming everywhere.
Yeah, Trump is definitely doing very well in issues. There's even polls that have Trump winning unions on the issue.
Biden's job
He
approval
wins
is
he
extremely
wins
low.
unions by a couple of points. There's even polls that have Trump winning Hispanics outright, and I think there's even a poll that had Trump winning black male African American
He
voters
was even winning
outright
the
in a
youth
poll.
vote too.
Huh?
He was winning the youth
He's
vote.
also had a bunch of polls leading in the youth vote as well. But I think
Yeah.
if RFK would have been the nominee, Biden would have stopped the hemorrhaging from some voters. I think Trump would have done good with African American voters still, but I think RFK would have kept a lot of college educated voters and probably would have expanded the base with them well enough for him to barely win states like Wisconsin, Georgia, and Nevada by really close margins.
Maybe
That's
Arizona too.
that's why. That's what I'm saying. Trump would have probably actually improved with Hispanic and African American voters even against RFK, but RFK would have probably made gains with white voters and probably would have made gains with white college educated and suburban women voters just enough to basically make it a wash from 2020.
Someone's asking if healthcare were to become a bigger issue by election day, will this hurt Trump?
If healthcare becomes a bigger issue, well, on the polls, Trump is losing healthcare to Biden in most of the issue polls by only 2, 3, or 4 points. So again, Biden's not even leading him that much on the issue. It's basically a wash. There's even polls that have Trump up by like or down by one on abortion. And even on democracy, Biden's only up on Trump by like 2 or 3 points in most polls. Because people understand that when basically Trump has gotten all these indictments thrown at him, you kind of have a scenario where it's like, well, how are you going to say that you're the party of democracy and election integrity, but at the same time, you're going to try to get your political opponent thrown in jail? That's also a problem, too. You can't you can't, like, what is that phrase about eating the cake? Like, you can't have, like, what is it? You know what I'm talking about, right? I forgot the phrase. Something to do with eating cake.
I kind of forgot to.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's like you can't have it, like you can't like it's something I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. Like you can't have it both ways, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's really the issue, and I think that's the problem with Biden's presidential leadership. He's tried appeasing both sides of everybody on every issue, and he just looks more like a dickhead every time he does.
Red Elephant Politics is asking, do you think that Taylor Swift could help Biden in 2024?
Oh
As
my god,
famous
bro.
as she is?
I've heard this so much in the
I know
recent
it's
days,
so relevant right
especially in
now.
my family. Bro, Taylor Swift's gonna endorse Biden and Trump's gonna lose. It's over. Like, no, that's not gonna happen.
That's delusional.
That's not gonna happen. I mean, she could mobilize like maybe she could net Biden like 1 million votes nationwide. I'm not saying it would have zero impact. Like she definitely could make sort of a difference. Oh, look, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's yeah, that's what I was trying
Oh
to say. I
yeah.
just didn't think it was right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, everybody's everybody was like, oh, no one else should pay attention to presidential election polls, especially this far away. But guys, like I think at this point, because you know what it is, everyone's like, well, we're still really far away, but guys, we're in February, and in February Biden was up by 5 points and Trump's up by 2. So like eventually we can't keep saying that, hey, we're too far away. By the time that April or May comes, we can't say, hey, we're too far away if Trump's up by 3 in the national polls. At that point, people would kind of have to either start coping or kind of have to start accepting the fact that that would just be the case.
Someone has another question. Who has a better chance of winning? Tester or Brown from Ohio?
Tester or Brown? I think that if I had to pick somebody who would probably have a better shot, I'd pick Brown just because the state is closer on the national level. Even though John Tester is probably more approved of in Montana than Brown is in Ohio, in my personal opinion, I don't necessarily think because of the fact that Montana is such a more Republican state, I think that though just that fact alone is gonna drag John Tester down. Usually
Yeah, I
John
think
Tester hasn't had to worry about he hasn't had to worry about that.
Montana would be more red than Ohio.
Right.
So I think
But if we go back, like let's look at his elections, right? So let's see when like he actually first won. It was 2006, correct? If I'm not mistaken. I think it was 2006 that yep. Okay, so in 2006, Tester won by 0.88% in a midterm year where Democrats did very, very, very well. And they won the
yeah,
national
that was
popular
bad. That
they
was
won the
bad.
national popular vote by like 12 points. They got their cheeks clapped here, guys. Like it was a very unusual year. Nebraska and North Dakota, their seats went blue, and this is when Byrd won, and then Ohio went to Brown by 12, and Missouri went to McCaskill by 3 points. But then Arizona and Nevada went red. Like it was a weird year. Like it was a very weird year. And then Maine went R plus 50. So it's like even Senate races are not super applicable to the national environment. Even here, Arkansas was still going pretty Democrat, even in 2008 Senate elections. Now, again, it was a Green Party candidate, so that might have inflated the margin for the Democrats here. But even still, this was the 2008 Senate map. And this was back then when ticket split voting was more common for the most part.
Yeah, I don't see ticket split voting in
John
2024.
McCain theoretically John McCain theoretically outran most he theoretically outran most um Republican candidates down ballot if you really think about it, because Hagen in North Carolina won by 8, but Obama won the state by 0 point like 3 or something like that. So McCain technically outperformed the Republican Party on the national level. And then if you look at 2010, I'm going to show you guys. Look, in 2010, if we go to the governor's races from 2010, and we actually look at these. Oh, wait, are they not going to have them here? Damn it. Or past elections. Here they are. Because they formatted it differently now. Okay, so let's go to 2010, right? In 2010, look at Haley. This was an R plus like 6 year. Georgia, 10-point win. Pennsylvania, 9-point win. Michigan was an 18-point win with Snyder. Wisconsin, 5-point win with Walker. 9-point win in Iowa. In South Carolina, Haley was in it, and there was barely any third party. She only won it by 4.5 points. So she is a massive underperformer in general. It is
Yeah,
just
Nikki Haley's definitely not gonna do good.
that's what I said. She would not do good in.
She's not even gonna do good in her home state.
Even look, Kasich only won Ohio by 2 points here. Haley's an unpopular neocon. But we know this is the truth. We all know this. You think it has nothing to do with the person holding the White House, but how people think that the person has. My mom is a perfect example of the person. She is a conservative person, but will not vote because he acts like a maniac and says crazy stuff. A lot of people that think that Trump has a big mouth and things like that will see that either A, Biden's going to refuse to debate Trump and be like, well, fuck you, Biden, and then just vote for Trump. Or B, they're going to see Biden just absolutely get demolished in debate so badly that they're gonna basically stomach their vote and just go vote for Trump. That's
You
probably
know,
what's going to happen.
if they pay attention to the actual economy and economic environment, they can tell that Biden is way far worse than Trump.
No, yeah.
Like they're not paying attention. Like and
Illinois
the
was
border is
really
a
close
mess,
here.
by the way.
Minnesota was really close in some of these races. Some independent candidate won the governorship in Rhode Island that year against the Republican and the Democrat. That's pretty interesting. I didn't even.
Haley would for sure lose the Rust Belt.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I'd also think she'd lose Ohio, not Iowa, because I think Iowa is still way too
Yeah, I think
Republican.
she can hang on to Ohio.
I don't know about that one. I don't know. I think she'd lose it. I don't really think
It's
so.
just I don't know. Democrats
She's
and
very
that
not only is she a neocon, she's a very hard line on abortion. So when you combine those two, that's really bad. And remember, the Ohio abortion thing passed by like 18 points or something like ridiculous. It was like a 15-point win. So if you combine a very unpopular neocon with very hard line abortion, she could have the potential of losing Ohio. 100%. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but As of right now, I do think that it would be the case. I think she.
Well, actually, Ohio voted in favor of abortion. You have to remember, so it's not going to hurt her.
I thought they.
Right?
I don't
No, no, no,
think they.
no. They voted 10% in favor to expand it.
Right. What I'm saying is that Ohio voted to keep abortion by 10, but she's a pro-life person. You understand what I'm saying? So
Oh, well,
combining the fact,
I personally think she's more like more to the left on abortion, to be honest.
well, I've seen her say like, "Oh, like I'm gonna be hard on abortion and stuff like that." I mean, I've heard her say it, so I'm assuming she's more right leaning on it than Trump. If you
Yeah,
look at,
but during the actual election, she's gonna switch it up to the debates. She's actually gonna switch it up, and she's gonna change her things.
I mean, she probably would do that, but that wouldn't really work out for her either, because she'd lose the people she got and lose other people too. That wouldn't really work out for her.
Yeah, she's gonna lose either way. So
This was interesting. The 2014 governor's races. This was bad. Snyder won re-election with way less. Walker won by the same amount. This guy got cooked. This Wolf guy won by a lot. Cuomo only won by 13. Colorado was really close. A bunch of this was the map that we were supposed to get in 2022. This is what
someone's asking, would a pro oil and pro gun Democrat easily win statewide in Texas?
a pro. I mean, it depends on certain things, how many white working class Hispanic voters they would get, but like, I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, because whenever Beto O'Rourke said he was gonna take away guns, like Democrats did not even vote for him.
Right
Like,
now,
he lost a
a
lot
lot of
of his own support. He lost a lot of his own.
where was his raid? Didn't he run for Senate against Ted Cruz or something like that?
Yeah, and then he got destroyed in the governor's race right
Right,
after.
he got destroyed right after because yeah. Because
Because
here,
that was better.
this was O'Rourke. This is when he wasn't super anti-gun. He only lost it by 2 points. And then now, when he ran for governor against Beto O'Rourke or against Abbott, he ended up losing the race by 10.9 percentage points.
Yeah. Texans are very pro gun, just so you know.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the margin was 0.67% for the Arizona race. Maricopa was still close. Maricopa was still pretty close. Politics all about profession. Most people aren't watching live YouTube videos about this stuff. They vote on vibes, and Trump needs to capitalize on that. Most people are informed. That is definitely true, and that's the thing. But I feel like Trump can capitalize on vibes very, very well, and that's why I kind of have him winning by a pretty substantial amount against Biden, because I think he is gonna. People are gonna look at the situation and vibe out Biden and be like, "Well, he's basically a crippled man, and Trump's out here still better than ever, and he's a gangster because he got out of the indictments." Like, those are the vibes that people are gonna vote for him on. Even if you don't agree with him, he's gonna gain a lot of African American and Hispanic support because of the indictments.
Someone's asking for Andy Bashir versus Phil Scott.
Andy Bashir versus Phil Scott. Oh man. Phil Scott is the one from where from not from Vermont. Is it from Vermont? Or no, that's another one. Or is it Massachusetts?
Hold on, let me check. Actually, Kentucky. It's Kentucky.
I know Andy Bashir's from Kentucky, but I'm talking about Phil Scott. Is that the one from Vermont or what?
Oh. Vermont, yes.
Okay, it's Vermont. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Here's the thing. Andy Bashir is conservative on some things, but then when it comes to like transgender stuff, apparently he thinks it's okay. So that's weird. And then with Phil Scott, he's not even supporting the union of states that are supporting Texas on the border. So he'd be cooked in something. So when you combine both coalitions, this would be a very, very, very strange election. I don't think that Kentucky would be under a 10-point win this time. I don't think that would happen. However, I do think that Phil Scott would still lose in a landslide grand fashion. I think it would be really, really bad. It would be very bad. Like, this would not even be okay. I think Utah would fall under a 10-point victory. And the lean Republican states, Missouri.
Yeah, Utah will be close.
Yeah, Utah would be closer. Alaska's easy. Arizona's easily a very, very big win. Nevada's an easy win for him. He wins the Rust Belt super comfortably. He's going to win Michigan and Minnesota by over 10 points. So that's a foregone conclusion. Wisconsin and Pennsylvania are almost 10-point victories. North Carolina would be lean. Georgia would be likely Democratic here. I think that South Carolina would be a surprise flip. It'd barely vote Democrat, including Alaska and Texas being lean Democrat. I even think that he'd also pick up Florida too. I think he'd get Florida, and I think he'd get Iowa and Ohio. And this is the one part. I think Vermont would probably fall under the 10-point category. Just because he wins by such big margins, and maybe some of the other states maybe do get a little closer, and maybe New
He
Hampshire.
won't win his own home state.
Nah, he wouldn't win it. No, I think he would get it closer because it's just such a big difference.
How much did he win it by last time?
Huh? I
Did
mean,
he
I
win it
think
big
he
last time?
won it by. Let me see. I think he won it. He won it by 47 points. And since the state is more densely packed, I still think he would.
Someone in your chat is asking, do you think this statement is true or false? Voters vote pragmatically.
What does that exactly mean? Like they need to. I honestly don't know what that means. So they need to be a little bit more specific.
Like in a sensible or realistic way that is based on practical rather than theoretical.
A lot of people don't really necessarily vote on that. A lot of people tend to vote based on like how they've already voted before. That's kind of the thing. Once somebody starts
Phil
voting a
Scott won by
certain way,
35%.
it's very what?
Phil Scott won by 35%. I don't think he's gonna lose.
Nah,
Like-
but you gotta understand that. Okay, you need to understand that Andy Bashir won by 5 in Kentucky, and Kentucky has significantly more people than Vermont does. So you need to understand is Andy Bashir won by 5 points in a very deep R state. So yes, it'll be under 15 points, but it's not gonna be under 10. Since Vermont is a lot smaller and Phil Scott won by 47, even though Andy Bashir would still win, I still think Phil would drop it below the 10-point margin because there's less people he needs to convince to switch over to vote for him in a presidential race compared to how many people Andy Bashir would have to convince Republicans to vote for him in Kentucky. Does that make sense?
Kind of, maybe.
Okay. Because it's really due to population. That's really all it is. I would honestly say, like, if Phil Scott would have won. Oh my. Wait, what?
What happened?
Biden only got 651 votes in the South Carolina primary?
Actually?
Well, wait, hold on. Wait. Let me go to political because I just saw a notification come up. Go to interactive polls. Go to interactive polls. Interactive polls.
Oh yeah. It's just only 1% in though.
Oh, it's 1% in. Oh, okay. I thought it was
I was trying to cap to us.
No. I thought I was like, because I had seen he had already been projected to win a long time ago already. I was like, damn, bro, that's it. Like, buddy's cooked. Okay, so
He's gonna win.
hold on. So 21 plus 8. I'm gonna see how many votes. So that's 1% of the vote, or less than 1%. Let's say it's almost 1%. So
It is 1%.
so if 680 people is 1% of the vote, and then I do a fraction of 1 and x like this, that means only 68,000 people voted in the South Carolina Democratic primary.
The person who requested the Andy Bashir versus Scott said, "I was hoping you'd fill out a 1950s style map," but
Well, we're too polarized for that to even happen. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
there'd
just
be
different.
there'd be
That's
some shifts in the coalitions, but it would kind of benefit Andy Bashir more than it really would Phil Scott. For the most part. That's just how I see it. But guys, not gonna lie, I've been here way longer than I've been expected. I really want to eat. I'm very hungry.
Yeah, we gotta end this.
If you guys did enjoy this stream, please subscribe to the channel. Everybody from Let's Talk Politics' channel, come subscribe.
Yeah, I'm at
Everybody-
almost at 1K, 1,000.
Everybody, yeah, he's almost at 1,000. Everybody that's on my channel, go subscribe to him. He's about to hit 1K, and everybody on his, come subscribe to me. So I'll
Yep.
probably be doing this more often, not every day, but maybe once a week,
Yeah. It was
every
fun.
other week or so. We're gonna get more people on board. I currently talk to Ready Go Politics and PA Election HQ, by the way.
Did they get on here too?
I mean, it would be cool to get them on at some point. I mean, we'll see.
I'd hit 1K right away.
Ready Go Politics did actually tell me that at some point he would join me for a stream.
Okay, if that happens, just invite me. But
Yeah. I'll invite you. I'll invite you to do that as well. You know, oh,
hopefully.
by the way, guys, major announcement. I have a big announcement that I actually kind of forgot to mention, but it's only gonna get announced to like 8 people in the chat here, but the YapMS website is gonna add my logo to the website. Like when when you go here and you click
Actually,
logo and you go here, they're gonna add me.
wait, how did they get to? Like, did you reach out to them, or
Well,
they
what I
reached out
did
to you?
is I actually didn't even ask them. What I told them is, hey, you should add it so you can disable the letters and the numbers from the states and just have the map by itself to make it look pretty. Like if somebody wanted to have like a nice presentation of the states or whatever
Like
without
an
the
election
names,
night?
like for an election night or just for anything in general. I think it would be a lot better so that people don't have
It
to
would come
be
in handy for me,
the
definitely.
people don't have to be using the people don't have to be using the what is it called? The mapchart.com website
Yeah,
anymore,
I seen
right?
that. Yeah, they use
Yeah.
election nights for that.
Yeah, I know. That's what they do. But the problem is with those images is they come out, I think they give them to you as JPEG. So it's like really annoying to use them. And so when you rescale them, they come out really bad. But when you do these, you just zoom out a
That
little
was
bit,
gonna
you
be
take a
easier to
screenshot.
make election nights.
And then what it is that more than likely these are gonna stay here because it's gonna be harder to disable these. So all you do is you just go with the eraser tool and you just delete these and you delete these boxes and that's it. You have all your states.
Yeah, it'll be.
I also told them to do it for the take alls as well.
Thank you, Red Elephant. Thank you.
I told them to do what wait what?
They said great collab.
Oh, thanks Red Elephant. I appreciate it.
Do you know them or no?
No, I don't know them. I'm just saying
Mm.
thanks because like I'm not gonna not say thank you to that.
I was just asking you
No, but I don't know who they are.
because their name is familiar. I don't know.
Right. Well, I don't really know, but yeah, so they are gonna add my logo to the website at some point. I'm not exactly sure when that update is coming, but I know at some point they are gonna do that. So whenever I stream or when I do a video, I am gonna have it on the side. That's why I kind of started doing the donut on the side for my videos because I am gonna have it there. So yep. But all right, guys, if you guys did enjoy the stream, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post bell notifications so you don't miss another video that I post. Without further ado, I hope you guys have a very good rest of your day. See ya.